I'm saying, this is I didn't want to bring this up in your squadron.
The woman who just sat down is Stephanie Lazarus, an officer of the LAPD and a detective. Her peers have just taken her aside to talk privately, but unfortunately for her, this talk is work-related. Sherry Rasmussen was found dead in her apartment in 1986. Due to a lack of evidence and leads at the time, the case went cold and was closed for over 20 years. But through a re-examining of old cases, 2 detectives found their co-worker's name in the murder file, Stephanie Lazarus. According to Sherry's dad, Stephanie had a romantic relationship with Sherry's husband, John Ruetten, and was named as a primary suspect. Now, the detectives need to find out, is their fellow officer involved in this crime? Did she kill off John's wife to have the chance to rekindle an old flame?
You want him on?
Oh, no, it's fine. I think we're good.
I just have to record it to under this terminal. You're going to bring somebody in, right?
Yeah, well, I'll explain the whole thing. I didn't want to talk about this in the squadron because I don't know who people are listening.
That's true.
And if we go to my side, everybody's always wondering what everybody else is doing.
No problem.
Okay. But like we're talking about being busy and stuff, we've been assigned a case that we've been looking at.
Okay.
It's a new case, and reviewing the case, there's some notes to see as far as your name being mentioned.
Okay.
Do you know John Ruetten?
John Ruetten? John Ruetten?
Ruetten.
Oh, yeah, I went to school with him.
You did?
Yeah.
Think closely about this statement, that she and John went to school together. What does this imply? That she knew him, but that they weren't particularly close. Keep this in mind and pay close attention to Stephanie's story.
How long did you know him?
Gosh, I went to school in, went to UCLA in 1978 I started, and, met him at school at the dorms.
Were you guys friends, close friends?
Yeah, we're very close friends. I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's a case we're working on. It involves John, and in there, some of the statements we reviewed, there's notes and stuff that he knew you and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were good friends. Lived in the dorms for 2 years.
You guys lived in the same dorm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Dykstra.
Okay. Were you guys just friends or anything else, or?
Yeah, we were good friends.
Yeah. Was there ever any relationship or anything that developed between you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we dated.
Did you catch that? Within the span of 1 minute, Stephanie has altered her story twice. She started by saying she and John went to school together. Then later it changed to them being close friends, implying a closer connection than she led the detectives to believe. Now her story has changed again to say that she and John were more than friends. They used to date. This gradual alteration of the story suggests Stephanie is trying to hide as many details as possible from the detectives, which already put some suspicion on her.
What's this all about?
And here, we see a common defense tactic, redirecting the focus. Stephanie is clearly uncomfortable and is now questioning the detectives to take some of the heat off of her.
Well, it's relating to his wife.
Okay.
Okay. Did you know her?
Not really. I mean, I knew that he got married years ago.
Did you ever meet her?
God, I don't know.
Do you know who she was or anything?
Well, let me think. God, it's been a long time ago. I may have met her.
Well, let me ask you, roughly, how long would you say you guys dated?
Oh, jeez. I couldn't even say. I mean, I started school there in 78. I started UCLA in 1978. I graduated in 82. I don't even remember what year he graduated, if it was a year or two before me.
Okay.
I think he was a little bit older than I was. I mean, I can't remember if he was born, let's say I'm born in 1960. I don't know if he was born in 58 or 59. I mean, I knew his parents, I knew his sister, his brother went to Northridge. sister had spent the night at my house before. Obviously, I spent the night at his house before. We probably spent the night at my house before.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, because from what you're telling me, you guys dated while you were in college together, right?
Yeah, and probably after college.
This is another common tactic for people to try and avoid questioning. They'll say words like probably and maybe to neither confirm nor deny a story. It gives them some room to lie and also come clean if they get caught. Another detail worth pointing out is how Stephanie was talking about how she and John graduated, implying that was the end of her relationship, and now she's saying they probably dated after college. It's only been around 5 minutes, and Stephanie has already been caught in a slew of passive lies. This is not a great start for an interrogation, but it's only going to get worse from here.
I can't. Trying to think when I met my husband.
And we see yet another common tactic in liars, where they'll add unnecessary details to their stories to help make them more believable and to take attention away from the initial question. Stephanie was asked if she and John dated in college, and now she's trying to think about when she met her husband. Keep an eye out for all the times Stephanie tries to change the subject by adding unnecessary details.
Let's see, what year is this? We'll be married. I got married in 1996. I think I met Scott in 92. Prior to that, I couldn't tell you how long I had talked to John prior to that.
But since you met your husband, Scott, you hadn't talked to him?
I mean, he may have called me once or twice before we got married.
Right.
What ended the relationship between you and John?
It was kind of a weird relationship. I mean, we dated. I can't say that he was my boyfriend. I don't know that he would consider me his girlfriend. We dated. We did things. I played sports in college. He played basketball. His brother played basketball. It just didn't work out.
And once you guys split, were you guys still friends, or kind of,
I mean,
is it friendly, not friendly?
No, I don't think it was not friendly. I mean, we were friendly. I know that we went to Hawaii at one point. Another friend of mine who's actually dying right now went to Hawaii with us at some point.
And you were saying that
it's 2009 now.
Had you ever met his wife?
I may have.
Do you remember her name or anything, or? Or what she did for a living, or where she worked, or anything about her?
Well, I think I'm going to say that I think she was a nurse. I can't remember how he said he met her. I mean, it's been so long ago.
We can see that Stephanie is feeling more pressure in the situation. She refused to answer what Sherry Rasmussen's name was out of fear that might incriminate her. Stephanie's also changing the subject more forcefully. She was asked if she knew what Sherry did for a living, and is now trying to talk about how John met her. She then uses the changed subject to assert how long ago all this was, and how she wouldn't know.
Do you ever remember if you ever talked to her? Because it seems like a lot of you who were at the school at UCLA, you guys kind of were friends during and after school, so I don't know if you guys still associated afterwards once he was married or anything.
With him?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I mean, again, I don't understand why you're talking about some guy I dated a million years ago.
Well, do you know what happened to his wife?
Yeah, I know she got killed.
What did you hear about that?
I saw a poster at work. I'm sure I spoke to him about it. I think I spoke to another friend of his about it.
And how did you first learn about that?
Jeez. Someone could have called me. I could have heard it at work. I think at one point there may have been a flyer or something. I know a good friend of his...
Were you on the job back then when that happened?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm sure I was on the job. That's why I would have heard about it with the flyer. He had a good friend, Mike Boldrick. Anyways, he may have lived in the dorms. I don't remember if that's how I met him. I may have talked to him. I mean, I don't remember how I heard. I mean, I don't even remember what year it was.
At this point, it's clear how chaotic Stephanie's story is becoming. She started by saying she heard about Sherry's death from a work flyer, then from an old college friend, and now she says she doesn't know.
And you think you said you thought his wife was a nurse. Do you have any idea where she was working at the time, or did he ever mention that to you? Was it a hospital or a doctor's office?
I'm sure he must have mentioned it. Now that you're bringing that up, I think she worked at a hospital somewhere. And yeah, I may have met her at a hospital. I may have talked to her once or twice.
At a hospital?
Or more.
But being that you're you used to see John, was everything okay between you guys? I mean, there was never anything uncomfortable or anything between you and her?
I don't know. I mean, it's been so many years. I mean, uncomfortable. I mean, I can't even remember if we had a conversation. I mean, we may have. I may have seen her at his apartment. Geez, how many years ago was that? I don't even know what year she, got killed.
After John's wife died, you said you may have been talking to him. Did your relationship start up again?
I would say no.
And here, the detectives reveal their first fact to their suspect, that she and John did talk after his wife's death. This negates Stephanie's passive but no leaning stance on whether they spoke. And while Stephanie keeps being passive in her answers, she does say her and John's relationship didn't start up again. The detectives are doing their best to lock down Stephanie's answers, and Stephanie herself admitted that she's trying to avoid locking down her answers. So this might be the best they're going to get to a straightforward response.
Again, can you give me a year? I mean, this is like 2009.
She died in 1986?
Yeah, I think it was 86.
1986.
Okay. Like I said, I'm faintly remembering that I went to Hawaii with my friend Greg. Greg and I got certified for scuba diving, and I'm pretty sure that John met us there. Again, I'd have to tell you what year it was. I'd have to look at my pictures.
During that time that you were seeing John, was he acting kind of squirrely or kind of sneaking around when he'd hook up with you or anything like that? To make you think, hey, this guy...
He probably was. I mean,
because from the impression I get is you've known him a long time.
Well, let's see.
From what, early...
I met him in 78. No, I met him in school. I started UCLA in 78.
So you know him well during that period of time.
Yeah, I mean, was he acting squirrely? I don't even remember where he was living then.
Well, let me ask you. After he hooked up with...
I mean, if he was living on Roscoe or wherever else he was living.
Right.
Well, after he hooked up with Sherry, do you know where they were living?
No, you asked me that already.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, obviously they were living in Van Nuys Division.
Yeah.
I may have known.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did he ever give me the address? I maybe.
I mean, you're not sure if you ever been to the house because...
But it's safe to say that would have been the only time, like for something social?
Yeah, if I went there for something social, yeah. Okay. I mean...
Because I know you went to talk to her at the hospital regarding this issue with John.
This just got a reaction out of Stephanie. She's been reacting a lot in this interrogation, but we can see how her eyes widen when it's brought up that she did in fact speak with Sherry. This is the detail Stephanie's been the most passive about, and now she's going to have to face this fact head on.
To, kind of like, hey, what's going to happen here with this thing? But would this ever have followed up to her house when you went to talk to her to say, hey, you know what?
I don't even know that I knew where they lived. That's what I'm saying. If I knew where they lived and I'd been there, if it was for something social, I would, and I can't see how many times I saw her face to face. he lived on Roscoe. Did I ever see her there? I don't know. I mean, I may have seen her at his apartment on Roscoe. I may have met her there. I mean...
But you didn't have any issues with her, right?
No, I mean, obviously, if he was dating me and dating her, I probably said, "Hey, pick," or something, back
That's
then. I can't say that we ever screamed or, he was a pretty mellow guy.
Notice how Stephanie caught herself from saying, "We never screamed or yelled." This would imply that there was a confrontation of some sort. Watch as Stephanie tries to go back on what she said to suggest there was no problem.
I think I was pretty mellow. I don't think we had some big, huge blow up to say, why we stopped dating, or, and I even think that when I was dating him, I was probably, like I said, I was probably going out with other guys, and he was probably going out with other girls.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, would you remember if she snapped on you and just like, "Hey, man, it's my man, you get it, leave him alone, blah, blah, blah," that kind of stuff? Would you remember an incident like that? I mean, because that would be like, what?
Well, and maybe that happened. I mean, gosh, it's been so long ago. That's not ringing a bell.
Because the times I've seen you around at our office,
I'm crazy.
One of the concerns I had is looking at some of the notes is some of Sherry's friends said that you and her were having a problem because of the John situation.
Well, number one, I don't know who her friends are.
Being a detective, Stephanie probably knows how bad a testimony like this is for her and feels a need to diffuse it as quickly as possible. With nowhere to go, Stephanie laughs this fact off, trying to make it seem ridiculous. Stephanie also immediately discredits Sherry's friends' accounts, saying she doesn't know who they are, as if that lowers their authority in the situation.
Because again, I don't recall if he did tell me where he met her. I don't know even who these friends are. A problem.
And again, Stephanie tries to change the subject, but this time she realizes she can't get away with it and actually gets back to the question that she was asked. Watch her facial expression and we can start to see her panic start to show.
Like I said, if I spoke to her, I'll go on as far as a limb, and I don't even want to say I spoke to her 5 times because that's probably not even true. I can't even remember. Again, did I meet him at her place when he lived on Roscoe for, I think, quite a while, but I couldn't tell you how long he lived on Roscoe. And the only reason I remember the place now is because it's like a huge dope place now where they, it may have been back then, but, maybe we didn't know back then. I could have met her there. I could have, I don't even know that I met any of their friends. I can't say that. I don't know that that's a true statement.
Well, that's what I'm reading is that you guys had problems with each other and words are being exchanged, and it's all relating to John.
You know what? I can't say.
You can't say?
No, that doesn't even ring a bell. So,
it seemed like, you would recall something if somebody's going off on you, right?
I would think. I would think. I just can't say that I've ever. Again, was I there with other people? I don't know. I don't think I ever met her there or him there, meaning one or the other. I don't think so. I can't. I don't think so.
Because I know the way my wife is. At our house, she wouldn't want my own girlfriends there, So I don't know if maybe she had the same mentality towards you, as far as you ever being there.
The detective is using a clever strategy of trying to sympathize with the subject's perspective, framing the situation in a way that it would be understandable for there to be a confrontation between Stephanie and Sherry to make it easier for her to confess.
Being welcome there, because it's...
You know what? If somebody said I was there when they were there, then that's possible. Mm-hmm. But I don't recall. I don't think so. It's not sounding familiar.
Yeah, because I guess basically what I'm asking is, were you ever welcome to the house? Like, hey... Oh,
come over?
Yeah, come on over. We're having a barbecue, a dinner party, Christmas party, whatever?
I don't know.
You don't?
I'm just trying to think. It's been. I'd have to almost go back and look at pictures, because I take pictures. I mean, I usually when I go to functions, I have 10,000 pictures. Okay, I'm a picture nut.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of car did you have back then?
Let's see. What year?
Or are you like one of those young cops that like, oh, I got a paycheck and bought a new car?
Oh, no. I've only had like a few cars in my whole life.
So what'd you have when you came on the job?
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, my first car was a 68 Chevelle. 68 Chevelle. And then I had a Toyota... some kind of a Toyota hatchback, but I forget what the name of it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Corolla or Tercel or something like that.
Tercel.
Yeah.
And then I had my
Did
truck.
you ever have any problems with your cars?
Like what?
Stephanie is clearly concerned about where this topic is leading. Her passive demeanor is breaking as the facts are coming forward.
Just anything in general, car wrecks, anything stolen.
Yeah. No, my car's never been stolen. Oh, no, crashed, hit and run. Yeah, I don't think any of my cars had ever been stolen. No.
Well, like I said, as we were looking at the case, and we had read the notes as far as from Sherry's friend saying you guys had problems or words, and they got heated. And the reason we're asking you is they had mentioned that an incident at her work had occurred, and they've also told us that an incident at her house occurred.
You know what?
And this is at her house during the period of time that they're married.
That's just not sounding familiar at all. I mean, that's just not sound. Again, if someone says that I was at her house and I had an incident with her, that just doesn't sound. Was John there? Did John say this happened? And other people were there. I don't recall. I mean, it just doesn't sound, familiar.
By this point, we know Stephanie can remember these confrontations she had with Sherry. The nature of the events plus the repetition would make them difficult for the average person to forget. But Stephanie is still holding on to the phrase she doesn't remember, almost like a security blanket at this point. She can't refute the facts, and they point out the many lies she's told in her story so far. All she can do at this point is keep denying it, in the hopes that it might help her case.
And this is an incident where you showed up, you weren't supposed to show up, and things got heated.
At his house?
Yeah.
That just doesn't sound familiar. I mean, no. It's not sounding familiar.
So
not at all.
Now you're saying not familiar because it's just you remember, or it's just.
You know what? I'd have to say I don't remember, because I don't remember. That doesn't sound familiar.
Would you remember something like that in your life?
Well, I would think, but
sort of drama involving, the other woman type of thing.
Did you ever fight with her?
You mean like we fought?
Yeah. Did you ever duke it out with her?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
you'd remember that, right? That would be pretty.
Yeah, I would think so.
Pretty specific.
Yeah, like I said, I mean,
dramatic.
Obviously, it just doesn't sound familiar. I mean, what are they saying? So I fought with her. So now I'm getting the jump, the leap. Excuse me, I haven't eaten. They're saying, okay, I fought with her, so I must have killed her. I mean, come on. I mean, that's, I don't even know who these people are. I can't even say I met any of these people. I mean, it's insane. If it happened, I honestly don't remember it. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, that just sounds crazy to me.
Yeah. So you offhand, you don't recall ever going into her house and having words and physically,
no.
attacking her attacking you?
No.
Nothing like that?
No. I mean, that's no.
Nothing?
No. Not at all.
Okay. Well, on some of the, on this case, it occurred in 86, right? Detectives processed the scene, things of that nature. They did fingerprints and all that stuff. You know the standards. I mean, you've been doing this longer than I have.
Well, I don't know about that. I got 26 years on, going on 26.
19, so. But, you know, as they processed everything, they did the best they could at that time, and they looked at a lot of people and different things in this case. And you're right.
I mean, if you guys are claiming that I'm a suspect, then, you know, I got a problem with that.
Okay.
Okay? So.
Now Stephanie is changing tactics to be more aggressive. She can't deny the facts, so she tries to interrupt the facts by asserting her position on the matter.
You know, if you're doing this as an interrogation, you're saying, "Hey, I'm a suspect." Well, now I got a problem with, you know. Now you're accusing me of this. Is that what you're saying?
We're trying to figure out what happened, Stephanie.
Well, I'm just saying. You know, do I need to get a lawyer if you're accusing me of this? You know,
you don't have to. I mean, you know, you're here of your own free will. I mean,
no, I know, but I mean,
you know, you're not under arrest. You can walk out.
You can leave whenever you like.
Well, but, you know, I'm trying to give you some background of, you know, how I knew him, and now you're telling me that somebody's saying that we had this big old fight, and I don't even know what you're talking about. You know, and I don't want to, you know, get in trouble for something that I didn't even do, or you're saying I did something.
Okay.
Yeah, we understand.
I mean, how would you guys like it if the tables were turned on you?
I understand. No.
No, that's what we're telling you. I mean, you're free to go whenever you want. If this makes you uncomfortable and you want to,
now you're starting to make me uncomfortable.
The thing is, I mean, detectives did what they could at that time on the crime scene. Okay, and the burglary thing you're talking about, that is an angle that they looked at. But now we're looking at everything else on the case, because nobody was ever arrested on the case.
I don't know that or not.
Okay. Now, what we'd like to do is, obviously, you know about all the DNA stuff and things of the nature that, you know, gets done on cases nowadays. You know, if we asked you for a DNA swab, would you be willing to give us one?
Maybe. Because now I'm thinking I probably need to talk to a lawyer.
Okay.
I mean,
although the reaction to not answer and get a lawyer sounds suspicious, it is the right move if you're ever being accused of a crime.
Well,
because I know how this stuff works, okay? Don't get me wrong. You're right. I have been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
And I wish I had been recording this because now it sounds like, you know, you're telling these people saying I'm fighting with her, and now it sounds like you're trying to, you know, I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, we know.
Okay, and now it almost sounds like you're trying to pin something on me.
No,
now I got that sense.
Well, what it gets to on these cases, and you know it as well as I do, our job is to identify and eliminate suspects.
I can't believe this.
So if we ask you to point to give us a DNA sample, a buccal swab, so we can identify or eliminate you, would you be willing to do that?
Maybe. Because I know this,
Well, that's where we're at too. I mean, because right now, from looking at the evidence, it's possible we may have some DNA at the location.
That's great.
And we're going to do what we can to try to put this thing together. And your name's in the book. These people are pointing at you for whatever reason.
I don't know why. That's just crazy. I mean, that's absolutely crazy.
And it would be irresponsible on our part not to look at it.
I know. You guys have to do your job, and I guess I'm going to have to contact somebody. So
that's fair.
I mean, because I know how this stuff works. I mean, I just can't believe it.
I mean, we understand that. I mean, if we were in your position, I mean, we would feel the same way.
I just can't even believe it. I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm shocked. I'm really shocked. That somebody would be saying that I did this. I mean, we had a fight, and so I went and killed her. I mean, come on.
Well,
that's...
Okay.
All right.
Well, thanks for giving me the courtesy. I wish I could record it.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Stephanie, take care.
All right.
Stephanie's DNA was found to be a match to a sample retrieved from a bite mark on Sherry's body. Her fingerprints also matched those found at the crime scene, proving she was the one to murder Sherry Rasmussen. Stephanie was found guilty in 2012 and was sentenced to 27 years to life in prison.
This is insane.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. Stephanie, you know you have the right to remain silent. Do you understand?
Yes.
Anything you say may be used against you in court. Do you understand?
Yes.
You have the right to the presence of an attorney before and during any questioning. Do you understand?
Yes.
If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you free of charge before any questioning if you want. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you want to talk to us right now?
No.
All right.
Okay.
This is crazy. This is I'm like in shock. I'm totally in shock.